Today we have a kanji recap of JLPT M5, History of 20 Kanjis, Part 1. This kanji is the pictogram of a mountain with 3 peaks, very easy to remember. The kanji for mountain can also act as a radical, and we see it in the words mountain peak, toge, island, shima, and storm, arashi. This kanji is the pictogram of a river. Here you can see the edges marked by 2 solid lines, and the river flowing by dotted lines. This eventually evolved into 3 lines for easy writing. If you were to compare it with the kanji for water, the solid line is in the middle, while the dotted lines are on the sides to represent the water splashing. The kanji for soil was a pictogram of a lump of soil on the ground. Eventually, the black dot in the middle became a vertical stroke. The kanji for soil can also act as a radical. The examples we have is ground, chi, slope, saka, and castle, shiro. This kanji is the pictogram of a sun. The original form was more rounded than the current kanji. Also, a line was added in the center to distinguish it from similar characters. When the kanji for sun acts as a radical, it gives the meaning of sun or time. The examples we have are daybreak, dan, time, ji, and bright, May. The kanji for moon comes from a pictogram of a crescent moon. Pretty straightforward, right? This kanji used to be related to the kanji for evening, and they were even interchangeable at some point, as they came from a very similar pictogram. Now, there is something very important you need to know about this kanji. It could also be used as a radical, but it only exists on the right-hand side, as in the case of term and bright. If you find it on the left-hand side, it is not moon. It is the radical for flesh, as in the words skin and stomach. The kanji for rain was divided into 2 parts. The top was a cloud, and the bottom was water drops. Together they came to mean rain. When the kanji for rain acts as a radical, it gives more of the meaning of something in the sky or coming from the sky. Some examples are snow, cloud, and thunder. The kanji for water comes from a pictogram of water flowing, similar to when water comes out of the tap with some possible splashes. When water becomes a radical, it takes a minimalistic look, which is pretty much just 3 lines. You can see this radical in words such as alcohol, swim, and pond. The kanji for tree is the pictogram of a tree which originally showed branches on top and roots on the bottom. When this kanji acts as a radical, it gives the meaning of tree or wood. The examples we have is table, utsukue, groove, hayashi, and forest, mori. To this kanji means heaven or sky, and it's got some seriously divine origins. Way back in ancient China, this kanji was the combination of 2 ideas. The kanji for big, which came from a big person, and a line above his head. What was that line for? It symbolized the sky above us all, the realm of the gods. The kanji for fire was a representation of a fire burning with 3 peaks of flames. The kanji for fire has 2 different versions for radicals. The first one is the same as the kanji. We can see it in the words lamp, flame, and furnace. The second version has 4 dots. This will always be found at the bottom of the kanji. The examples are illuminate, roast, and black. This kanji for gold was formed with the kanji of soil plus 2 dots to represent the metal nuggets. When this kanji is used as a radical, it actually gives the meaning of metal. We can see it in the examples of silver, gin, iron, tetsu, and copper, do. At first, it might be a bit challenging, but if you look at this kanji a bit closer, you will see a fish, where the top is the head, the middle are the fins, and the bottom is a cute tail. When this kanji acts as a radical, it gives the meaning of animals that live inside the water. The examples we have are shark, same, whale, kujira, and carp, koi. The kanji for person comes from a pictogram of a side view of a standing man, highlighting an arm and a leg, and bending a little bit. One more thing to know is that this kanji can also act as a radical. However, the radical form looks slightly different. Some examples with this radical are body, rest, and Buddha. The kanji for child comes from a pictogram of a baby with a large head and spread arms. His legs seem to also be wrapped in a blanket. One more thing to know is that this kanji can also act as a radical. For example, you will find it in words such as learning, cavity, and grandchild. So here is the etymology behind the kanji for woman. This kanji forms the shape of a woman with breast kneeling, though in the current shape we can only see the left breast and not the right one. One more thing to know is that this kanji can also act as a radical. For example, you will find it in words such as pregnancy, daughter, or princess. If you're not sure what radicals are, feel free to check out my video on radicals. The kanji for friend is divided into two parts. Each one of these parts represented a hand. Two hands would then be a sign of helping each other in friendship. First, let's check out the shape of this kanji. Does it kind of look like two hands holding something up? That's because it originally represented a person holding tools. This symbolized a father providing for the family. The kanji mother and the kanji woman were closely related and had a similar origin of a woman kneeling. When a woman becomes a mother, she starts nursing a baby, and therefore the kanji has two dots to represent the nursing breast. The kanji for man was divided into two parts. The top is a rice field. The bottom is a strong arm. The two together show a man providing strength for physical labor. Fun fact, the kanji for man is not a radical, but it can act as an element. We see it in the words nephew, oi, father-in-law, shuto, and barbarian, toriko. This kanji is made from the kanji of tree plus a bulge on the bottom to highlight the roots. This will give this kanji the meaning of origin, while the meaning of book came later. Now, I got a challenge for you. What is the meaning of this word? Type it in the comments. Thanks for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, don't forget to give it a like and subscribe to my channel. Yay!